Can you
Hello.
hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfect. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
You have a long session of interviews today?
Oh, not too bad. Nah, just a few hours. I'm excited for it.
Oh, are you okay? Yeah, not every musician is excited for interviews.
It's a rarity for me to be doing an interview, so something
That
different.
that is why I'm happy to talk to you because you as you said yourself, you seem to be, how shall I put it, less visible in terms of bands interview activities.
Yeah, usually I don't know enough about what's happening to do interviews. I know about, what's happened in the past, but in the future I haven't been that involved in it until recently. Now I kind of know what's happening. So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. My name is Chris. I represent Noise Magazine. We're a Polish media outlet, and we're excited to talk to you. I know we have a limited time, so let me start off with first question, which is actually about time. My dad told me once that once you hit 40, once I hit 40, basing on his life experiences, everything speeds up. Just the flow of time is much, much faster. I'm in my mid 30s now. I don't really feel it that way. And I think his theory or experience is based on the fact that his life from a certain point, and especially job, was quite repetitive. And when things look the same every day, everyday life becomes one big blur. Of course, what you do in your everyday life as a job is not very repetitive, even though life of a touring musician does have a certain repetitive pattern cycles. But I want to ask you, having in mind the 20th anniversary tour, how was that perception of the passenger's time in your case in terms of the 20 plus years since Parkway Drive started?
It's a really interesting question because, yeah, like I think memory time is associated with memory. So if you're breaking the routine, that's when time slows down because you're having to input memory. And as far as our career, it's been so action packed and, just go, 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 go that there's never been routine. So we all in the band all feel like we've lived seven lifetimes. Yeah, and then when you get home and you fall into your routine and you have a month at home and your time just goes like that. But on tour, it goes so slowly because every single thing you do is out of the ordinary. And I think we're really, really lucky to have that because yeah, every day's an adventure on tour and you never know what you're going to get. It's really exciting. We're really lucky.
There are two keywords for my next question in your answer, which is action packed and adventure. That those elements were present in the Home is Where the Heartless DVD, which I watched a few years ago, and I think that's Home is for the Heartless. Sorry, that's one of the best, if not the best, tour video I've ever seen. And all the places you've seen, the places you played, the people you met. When I recall that movie, so to say, last night, I recall this. So there was, I'm not sure if you remember the scene. There was one guy in Thailand who had his front tooth missing, and was asking you about New Alabama, when are you using New Alabama? So you
Yeah,
could understand what he's asking if it was a new album. Anyhow, uh, it's also maybe a bit reflective question. These adventures, action-packed life. What kind of life have you had for the past 20 years? Because you must have friends. Like I'm also sort of somehow connected with music through journalism. You are touring musician, but we have a friends that lead, so to say, normal life, depending what is normal, right? So it's not about comparison. It's just about having a different perspective through the experience you've had. What kind of life was that?
it's yeah, there's no manual to look to for our life because I don't know anybody that has a similar career to us, and our experience of it is unique in itself. So it's been crazy. It kind of took to stop doing it, like during the pandemic, to realize how crazy and go 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 and everything it is, and um, also to kind of realize how fortunate we are. But yeah, it's just a crazy experience, and you try to like convey it to friends and stuff, and you can never really truly yeah, can show people what it actually is. And there's a dark side to it as well. Like when people ask me what the best thing about touring is, I say travel. Traveling's great. And then they say, well, what's the worst thing about it? And I say travel, because when you don't want to leave home and you have to, and there's a whole tour relying on you to do it, it's not always a great thing. Um, but at the end of the day, the good outweighs the bad, and yeah, it's really fortunate, really.
In a natural way, you're sort of introducing my next question because you mentioned about dark side and tour relied on you, and I want to refer to the Australian story and the story that you brought up about your partner and how you had to go on tour. And for those who don't know, your partner Tegan was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and you went on tour even though she asked you to stay, and you never saw her again. And you said in that the documentary about the guilt that you feel, and this also connected with time, because I'm not I wouldn't want to ask how you process that, but does that time help actually in one of the hardest feelings in life, which is regret or guilt?
Yeah. Time heals everything. Like time is the hindsight is the best thing, and time is kind of, for me, the only thing that helps. Yeah.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, do you think it's only the matter of time and its passage itself, or do you also have to work with that emotion, so to say?
Yeah, I think I can only speak for my own experience, and you know, somebody assured me in my when I was going through the thick of it, and it was, um, yeah, my most difficult moment in it. They said, look, tomorrow will get a little bit better, and then the next day will get a little bit better, and the next day will get a little bit better, and there might be a bad day, um, but ultimately time will heal, and um, yeah, eventually you kind of, like, I can reflect back on all that experience as a positive, a kind of positive thing in a strange way, because you know I got to feel a depth of love that not many people get to feel, I don't think. And um, we're all going to die, and it's just a matter of when, not if. And to be able to share someone's final moments like that, and the lessons that you learn from it about how precious life is, and this kind of thing, with time now, I feel very, very lucky. But obviously at the time it's a different story.
Okay, thank you for the answer, because I know, I'm sorry if it was too personal, but since you mentioned the story itself in public, I just wanted to relate to that because I think it's important, and I appreciate your vulnerability to be able to talk about it. So thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Uh, that was a few questions about the past. Maybe let's move on to something which is closer to the present. How did the whole thing with Ben and Chris Hemsworth come about? Because that's a cool story as well.
Ben's in Byron Bay where we live. He's in this circle of uh I guess the influential people. He has this men's group that he goes to where they exercise together, and
Oh,
on the beach they play sport all together and stuff. And I think through that he met some people that introduced him to Chris Hemsworth, and they became friends. Um, and they don't live far from each other. They live just maybe 5 minutes drive from one another. And I think the fact, like, when Chris took on this project with Ed Sheeran, that he needed a teacher, and I guess Ben was one of his only friends that fit the role, I guess. And it was kind of perfect because Ben's role in it was basically, or the Parkway's role in it was basically to make Chris fail so that then he would be motivated to go and practice, to take it a bit more seriously. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was definitely an interesting project for sure.
Just to lay background for those who don't know, so it's a series run by it's National Geographic, right? And it's called Limitless. And the story in this episode was Chris Hemsworth was supposed to play live with Ed Sheeran, and Ben's Parkway's drummer was his teacher. So that's a cool story. And Chris never played drums before. I play drums a bit, so when I saw how he practiced at the beginning, I can tell that he never played before, and he was bad at it.
Yeah, I think that episode has motivated a lot of people to go out and buy drum kits. And yeah, my girlfriend was trying to get us to buy a drum kit after that. So
Really?
uh, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, but maybe.
I, I think I think personally that's one of the most difficult instruments because it involves four limbs, right? And the way you have to divide inside your head the way you think about the instrument, it's a very different story from any guitar, let's say. So, and Ben is amazing at
Yeah,
drumming.
I don't know. I kind of see instruments semi um all like a little bit similar in that all instruments are percussion in a way because you have to, even with guitar or piano, you still have to, with drumming, you're doing it, you're separating your limbs, whereas piano or guitar, you're separating your fingers. Um, so in a way, to me, it's all kind of percussion, right?
It's interesting. If you put it that way, it's interesting. But while listening to you, I'm thinking about flute, and yeah, probably yeah, it would also fall into that category, I think.
Because there's still rhythm with your breath, and I don't know, do drummers hear their drums as a melody? I don't know. It's all kind of similar, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Winston, in one of the interviews, said about Parkway Drive that this band was built on adventure, experience, and people gave us the ability to feel fearless in what we do. And we've talked about adventure, and I would like to touch upon the fearless part now because in my taking of your few last albums, it's all subjective. They seem to be quite safe music to me musically, and I had this thought that they became maybe either stadionized or Iron Maidenized, if I can say, in a way that it's all simplified, right? It was like there are still anthems and it's heavy and catchy, but it's more simplified and it's cool. It's okay. It's not my personal thing. I prefer maybe some of the other albums, but it's all good. What I wanted to ask you is whether it comes naturally from because we talk about live and it changes 20 years. It's a long time. Did it come from the natural progression or transformation of you as people and of course musicians?
It's funny because for me, stepping outside of the mold of what you know you can do and the records that you've made before, um, like I think the first three or four Parkway records were kind of similar to each other in the style and not very adventurous or brave. I don't think so. To me, stepping outside of that is brave and adventurous and trying
Okay.
something that you've never done. And if you perceive it as being a bit more simple, um, that's not necessarily the case. But because if you've written a song that's just like a blast beat, like Karma or something, that's just crazy, crazy, crazy fast, then you try to write a song like Darker Still, like a ballad. That's a totally different thing and something that, we'd never tried. So to me, that was really brave to try something
Okay.
you've never tried and adventurous as well. So I think ever since Aya, I think Vice Grip, I'm pretty sure Vice Grip was the first time we kind of stepped outside of what our comfort zone was. And then ever since then, every record's kind of had a little bit more of that. And then the last record, Darker Still, again, had a fair few of those, and they get, you know, um, people perceive them differently. But
Mhm.
for me, that's the most exciting thing about this band is, trying new things and, just having license to be brave and explore things that are interesting to you, not necessarily to your fan base.
Well, it has to be interesting to you. So thank you for being able to openly talk about it. The madness of the current world, especially within music, is the fact that one thing the fans demand you should play this. You should record another album like this. No, if you don't like the music you create, it's pointless, right? So I agree with you. And the other thing is it's all very individual, subjective. So I don't really understand why people put so much emotion into the music or albums they don't, let's say music they don't like, or the albums of the artist they like, but they didn't like that particular album. If you don't like it, just I don't skip it, pass it. Why, so much negative emotions? I can't understand it. It's quite easy. Okay, I like this band, so I listen to it. I don't like this band. I don't care. I like this album. Gonna be with me. I'm going more for my bike ride. I'll take it with me. I don't like this album. It stays on a player. It's quite simple. Why people put so much negative emotion? Welcome to
Yeah,
the
well,
20th century.
it's the perspective is good because if you focused on the fan that's saying, "Oh, your last six albums have sucked," make a new record like Horizons
Yeah.
or one of the first records. Um, and we perceive that as flattering because it's like, dude, we've made six albums or whatever since then, and you're still here telling us to make that. To me, that
Yeah.
means that record meant so much to them that they're still hanging around trying to it just meant so much to them that they're still here. To me, that's flattering. And for us, it's like, why would we do something that we know we can do and we've done? Um, so yeah, the exploratory, adventurous, new stuff is what's exciting to me. But also, you can't deny heavy and the things that we fell in love with, um, breakdowns and fast bits and all that. They still are definitely very valid, and I don't think we'll ever get away from them because it's so exciting. So we'll see what happens on the next one.
Do you know? Do you have any do you have any sketches of concept or ideas?
I know we're all very excited about what's happening at the moment, and that's kind of all I can really say. But yeah, there's some exciting things happening.
Okay, okay. Uh, we're getting close to our finish time. Do you have any? I know it's a cliche question, probably everyone asks us, but I still want to try because sometimes some cool stories come up. Any Poland related stories having in mind that you're going to play in Łódź in a few months' time?
Ah, cool and related
Or it
stories.
doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a gig in Poland. Maybe I know there's a strong Polish community in Australia as well.
Yeah. Um, Off the top of my head, it's really hard to remember, but um, hmm. I wish I knew that that's what this interview was for, so I could have thought of something, but I'm not a very good on the spot guy. I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
last one, just in relation, with stepping out of the comfort zone, your performance with orchestra, that's a very different new world, and it must have been challenging, or but exciting at the same time. What kind of experience was it for you, individually or as a band?
Oh, honestly, it was one of the craziest experiences of my life. Like, I knew it would be a special night, um, but like outside of Korea, like people are like, "Oh, was that one of the best nights of like the best things that have ever happened in the band?" And I say it was one of the best things that has ever happened in my life. It was
Okay.
just the craziest feeling. Like I never thought in my wildest dreams I would share a stage with some of the best musicians on the planet, and just feel. I didn't know live music could feel like that. Like we usually gauge the reaction of a show, like if it's a good or bad show, we can gauge it off the energy of the crowd in movement. Like it translates to head banging and mosh pits and this and that. But this was a seated show with people in tuxedos
Yeah.
and black tie. So it was like a compressed energy because nobody knew what to do with it. So um, this it sounded phenomenal, and then the crowd energy just kind of came out in strange ways. Like the crowd were crying, and you could just see the smiles and applause. And I had 30 of my family members there, and
Wow. Okay.
just it was just something really, really special. And the energy was just like transcendental. It's really kind of hard to explain, but I kind of honestly I felt like I was coming down from it for like yeah, probably I'm still kind of coming down from it because it
Really?
just was something so special. And I really hope the documentary that we do it translates. Um, I think it's going to be a really special documentary, but I'll be surprised if they can capture the true essence of that night because it was just so special. Yeah, yeah.
Can you? I know that that one was maybe one off, maybe not, but having in mind also all the other gigs, if whether it's a big one or whether it's a small club, what you mentioned about the having a crazy live and the madness of your shows, you were quite famous for that. Can you get used to that? If you do it for such a long time, and then you have either a small club or Wacken in Germany, a large crowd of few, thousands of people. Can you get used to that, or every night is just a different feeling?
The thing that we're really lucky is that it's never plateaued and the opportunities are always changing. So whether it's like new production or moving from big clubs into arenas or going from this slot at a festival to now you're headlining or whatever it is, there always seems to be growth. And so we never get like complacent or we never get like take it for granted because it's just always us. We always seem very grateful for the situation we're in. And yeah, it doesn't get old for sure. The opportunities just the stranger the bigger you get, the stranger the opportunities present themselves, like the Opera House thing and the Limitless thing and a bunch of other things that are happening now. It's just like it's more exciting than ever. It's crazy.
So I'm really excited to experience what kind of level of growth you are at now currently in the show in Poland. So yeah, thank you very much for the conversation, and
Yeah.
see you soon in Poland.
Oh, thanks, mate. It's been good to chat with you.